plaintiff, Brianna Bonds, says the day she started dating the defendant, she moved in with him. Brianna claims the defendant was great when he was sober, but became physically abusive when he was drunk. And then he cheated on her with his witness while Brianna was pregnant. She's suing her ex for van payments and a loan. Defendant Roberta Westenfeld says Brianna is a heroin addict with a history of prostitution, and she lost custody of one of her children due to her addiction. Roberto claims he has doubts about fathering her child because Brianna told him he wasn't the father. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test and is countersuing for defamation.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I met the defendant about 2.5 years ago, and we hung out one time. I instantly moved in with him.
Instantly, as in how long?
Instantly, like the first day we hung out. I never went home.
You were homeless?
No.
He was homeless?
No.
So, what'd you do at your place like the second day?
I was living with my family.
Okay. Did anyone inquire about why you were moving so fast?
Yes.
You have to use the men's room?
No, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm just getting, this is hilarious to me. I'm sorry.
They did? Someone did?
Yes.
Yeah.
My family did.
What did they say? I'm just curious.
They weren't very happy with it, obviously,
What'd you tell them?
that I was going to do what I wanted to do.
Okay. How'd that work out for you?
Not very well, Your Honor.
Not good? That's why you're here?
Yes.
Tell me about the years you all were together.
It started out really good. We got along great. We had a lot of fun together. Early on in the relationship, I noticed that the defendant had a severe alcohol problem. When he drank, he was very violent and abusive, very outspoken.
Early on, as in what?
As in the first 3 months.
Go ahead.
June of last year, I found out I was pregnant, which the day I found out I was pregnant, I had planned on leaving the defendant.
How often would he physically abuse you
At
after
least once a
3
month.
months?
At least once a month. Okay. Every time he drank. He was a great guy when he was sober.
All right. And did you ever go to the police on it?
I didn't until the end.
Okay. And he wants a DNA test today. Tell me about your pregnancy and the child.
My pregnancy was a high-risk pregnancy. I did have some complications. I never did cheat on him,
You
though.
hadn't been with anyone else?
Absolutely not. He had, though.
He had? How do you know?
He was sleeping with his new girlfriend while I was still pregnant. And
How do
he
you
admitted
know?
this to me.
Oh, he admitted it?
Yes, and we tried to save our relationship after the baby was born.
And what happened?
I couldn't get over it. We had an altercation. I left, and I have not been back.
Sir, let me get some background from you.
I met the plaintiff. Actually, it was a kind of a relevant story. I met the plaintiff on a county jail bus on the way to my sentence.
You all were both going to jail?
I was actually being sentenced to the work release program.
What was she doing in there?
For credit card fraud because of her heroin addiction. In June, she did indicate to me that she was pregnant. It was my impression that Brianna was on birth control at the time. I did move her in my house to where I was paying the rent. She called me because she had told me she had relapsed. And me being the person I was.
When was that?
When was that?
Yes.
That was probably in March of 2014 is when she had called me saying she would relapse.
When do you say it was?
It was January of 2014.
All right.
I was incarcerated in March.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Okay. She had a warrant for her arrest. So I had personally took her to the county jail in Kankakee and told her, go turn yourself in and get your life together so you can be a mother to your daughter. She has a previous daughter who she does not have custody of because of her heroin addiction in the past. She also wants to state that I kidnapped my baby. The reason I'm suing for defamation of character, Your Honor, is because she's putting on social media.
We'll get to that, but you've given me the background. And why do you want a DNA test? You suspect that the child isn't yours?
Since I've been with Kimberly, which is sitting on my right-hand side here, sir, or Your Honor, Brianna has made nothing but my life a living heck.
And you've been with your witness how long?
I've been with my witness for 3 months.
All right.
And I do admit that I did cheat.
All right. So what does she do?
I'm just trying to be a father to a baby that I was believing was mine until Miss Bonds had stated that he was not mine.
Oh, that's what makes you question it today.
Correct.
Did you ever tell him that?
Your Honor, my son calls my boyfriend Dad because that's who has raised him. He believes that the blue-eyed white child is a dark black man's child.
What do you believe in terms of what you told him?
I did not meet the new boyfriend until a month after we had already been split
My
up.
question was, did you tell him the child wasn't his? You've never told him?
I absolutely did
that?
not.
She did.
All
She did.
right.
Whether that baby being mine or not, I will always be a father to that kid. The reason why I question the paternity is because I've been informed by Miss Bonds, who has a history also of prostitution in her background, that this baby may not be mine.
All right, and you tell me about the lawsuit and anything else you might want to clear up based on what he has said.
Mr. Westenfeld was bringing up a past that happened before him. Since I've been with him, I've always been clean. I take drug tests every week. I completed my drug court program early.
You haven't relapsed in recent years?
I have not.
Okay.
It has been proven through weekly drug tests and toxicology that I have not relapsed when Mr. Westenfeld claimed
But
I
you're on
relapsed.
probation?
Absolutely. During that, I've never had any problems. I completed my treatment. I completed everything that was asked of me without it being asked twice. Never had any write-ups, anything go wrong with drug court. I was in and out smooth.
Sir, what did you want to interrupt and say?
Your Honor, Miss Bonds is a manipulator. I have proof from her own mouth on social media here in front of me
That she had relapsed?
that she had relapsed.
That's
Your
it.
Honor. Just trying to be a father to a baby that I was believing was mine until Miss Bonds had stated that he was not mine.
Oh, that's what makes you question it today.
Correct.
Did you ever tell him that?
Your Honor, he believes that the blue-eyed white child is a dark black man's child.
Plaintiff Brianna Bonds insists the defendant fathered her child, but he says he has doubts because Brianna told him he wasn't her child's father. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
Go ahead, ma'am, continue.
But Mr. Westenfeld did initiate the order of protection because he was trying to get full custody of the baby. The order was denied. I was then granted an order of protection and got the baby back.
You were granted
I
an
was
order?
granted it
You have
because of the
yours?
abuse in the
You
background.
have that?
I do not have it with me.
Okay. Was she granted the...
No, she was not, Your Honor. I hired an
right.
attorney.
And no
my
one
attorney
has
had that
the-
smart-
I had an
Does
emergency
anyone-
order of
Does
protection
anyone have the order?
that stated he had to return
Does
the baby
anyone have
immediately.
the order?
I have part of it, Your Honor.
All right, let's see what you have. All
How did
you
I get the
was
baby back?
beat me while I was pregnant.
We came to a
Do
custody
I
agreement,
don't
Your
trust
Honor.
him? Where does she admit she had a relapse?
Nowhere.
On here, sir?
I have so many of these, Your Honor.
You handed me this saying that's where she admitted it. All right. This is just the allegations made.
Correct.
These weren't the conclusions made on the protection order petition. So far, you've given me 2 documents that say nothing which you purported they would tell me. Now let's get to the van payments and the loan,
Yes.
ma'am.
In February 16th of 2016, I gave birth to our son, Jackson. During that process, he was transported from a hospital where we live in Kankakee to a hospital in Chicago. With the back and forth travel, he had a Chevy Blazer and the brakes went out on it. That is where the $250 loan came in. He borrowed that money from my grandmother. My grandmother was not paid back as she was promised, so I had to pay her back.
What's the other loan?
The down payment for the van was $500.
When was this?
This was in April of 2016, I believe. Hold on, let me check the date on it.
When was he to repay?
4/28/16, he was to repay it as soon as he returned to work.
All right, and he hasn't,
He
obviously?
has not paid anything. I have text message where him
All
and his
right, tell
girlfriend.
me about any other loan, because so far all we have is $750.
Yes,
You're
actually,
suing
the
for-
payments, the first 4 payments were made by myself.
Payments on the van?
Yes,
You made them, and what
I
was
made them.
his- Uh-huh.
and he has, since we broke up,
He
kept the
agreed
van.
to repay him?
What?
He did
Yes, he
agree,
did.
and
He told me
did-
when he
and
went back
has
to work
not?
that I would be
All
compensated
right,
for it
good
because that's
enough.
his
Sir,
vehicle.
what do you tell me?
Your Honor, she's lying out of her teeth. I have a letter from the dealership that states I've made every single payment since
Let me
the down
see it,
payment.
please.
That is signed, dated. I have all my receipts from van payments that
I have the
paid for this
receipts as
vehicle
well.
that we purchased together.
To whom it may concern, this letter is being provided to verify that Mr. Roberto Westenfeld, the primary contract holder, is the only individual to date submitting payments toward the financed amount.
I gave him the money and he was going in and making the payments while I was at work.
What do you have there to prove?
Text messages from him and his girlfriend agreeing
what?
that they were going to make payments to me on the.
You see it? Sir?
I have reason to believe that she's just so tired of her lies and everything and the drama that I'm going through with baby. I've tried to attain my baby. We have a legal custody matter with the court systems. I went to go pick my kid up on my current visitation rights. My girlfriend now, it's causing
He
me...
ever been on heroin? He sounds slicker than you.
He's a crackhead.
Crack. Okay,
a
yeah.
crackhead.
Crackheads are slicker than heroin addicts. You're right. Heroin addicts nodding while crackheads thinking, Doc. Yeah, they nod while the crackheads don't never go to sleep. Okay. That makes sense. Tell me about the defamation now. How does she defame
Defamation
you?
goes on her because I took my baby out of harm's way with her being under the influence of suspecting that she was, which I believe she's still doing heroin. And I was told by this.
Are you still a crackhead? Are you a
No,
crackhead?
I'm not. I've been clean and sober from crack. I relapsed once 2 years ago, Your Honor.
And so the defamation, what did she say?
As far as the
negative about you?
defamation, she's putting all our business on Facebook, saying how I kidnapped my son.
True business.
And how I'm not giving my kid back. She's called numerous amount of police. I have the police report
Saying
stating,
what to the police?
saying that I kidnapped my kid. They're saying, well, is there any kind of court order? So I went to pursue through the courts to
And
get
that's
some
where it's
kind-
pending?
No, we have an order now.
Yes.
You had a hearing to...
Yes.
Yes.
And at that hearing, did the issue of you kidnapping the son come up?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
And what did the court determine? Did they believe that was the case?
No, they did not. That's
They
why
had
the order
the baby immediately returned to me.
No, they did not.
Via
That's
an
why
order
the
of
order
Where's
of
the
protection.
child now?
The order of
My
protection
care.
was dismissed.
All right, the child is in her care?
Yes,
All
she's
right,
got
so
right.
they did believe some of what she said.
Some of it,
All
yes.
right, what I'm going to do is we're going to get the paternity test and see if the child is yours, since you suspect, based on her heroin addiction, that she perhaps relapsed during the time.
So that baby being mine or not, I will always be a father to that kid. The reason why I question the paternity is because I've been informed by Miss Bonds, who has a history also of prostitution in her background, that this baby may not be mine.
Plaintiff Brianna Bonds insists the defendant fathered her child, but he says he has doubts because Brianna told him he wasn't her child's father. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test.
All right, and in this case, we'll give it to you. You read the probability, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. What's the
Awesome.
probability?
That I am the father, Your Honor.
There you go. And based on the evidence I've been presented regarding the van payments and the loan, I've found you to contradict yourself with the documents you submitted. They were not what you purported them to be. Also, the exchange between your girlfriend and the plaintiff, even though it wasn't you speaking, I will accept it as evidence. And therefore, I'm going to grant her judgment, $1,677. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.
Hope you get enough heroin and overdose.
Off and die, be a dad. $20 doesn't do it a month. I hope he can be a dad now that he knows the kid is his.
Sure will. We got him legally.
We do.
She'll fail. She'll hang herself. She wins in these courts. I mean, you can tell by looking at her. I hope the best
Every time
for
we've
her.
been to court, you lost.
Hope she can be a mother and
To know
take care of her kid.
I'm happy it's his baby.
That's all we can
All I
say.
can say.
We will take care of baby. So that was my
Is
main
that
concern
alcohol
here.
I smell?
Alcohol you just smell, really?
I thought so too.